On Tuesday morning, numerous congressional Republicans appeared at a joint event by the American Cancer Society and Stand Up to Cancer, which is another group. And during the event, they brought the House down. I mean, they really did a good job. They gave speeches and they pledged their commitment to funding biomedical research fully to try to combat cancer. One Republican representative, Matt Salmon, called for NIH funds to be raised from roughly $30.1 billion to around $40 billion. Representative Kevin Yoder raised the stakes even higher, saying the federal government should be spending $60 billion on NIH research, and that the amount didn't even need to be offset by other spending cuts. He said this, quote, "Honestly, I'm not a big fan of deficit spending. I'm not a big fan of deficits. Certainly, as a conservative Republican, I believe the fiscal health of our nation is one of the most critical issues long term. But I think I can go to my 16-month-old daughter and I can say, I borrowed money in your name to cure cancer, and she would thank me." Wow. So, at the event, everybody was in high spirits. There was a lot of cheering, a lot of standing ovations. Everybody's optimistic. And they were saying, hey, the NIH is going to get all the funding that they need and then some. You even have a pledge from us, multiple congressional Republicans. And obviously the Democrats are on board. They've been on board all along. So we're all set in this one area. At least we know that there's bipartisan agreement. Cancer is bad, and let's fight it. Well, cut to a day later. Huffington Post reports, quote, "Late Wednesday evening, the House Budget Committee rejected an amendment offered by Democratic Representative Kathy Castro to add roughly $51 billion over 10 years in new mandatory funding for the National Institutes of Health. The amendment would have spread out the money so that it increased over time, providing a stable and growing stream of funds from which the institutes could draw. Included in that, funding to fight cancer." Now, to be clear, none of the people who were specifically at this event were the people who then turned around and voted against this. Okay, so let's be straight up about that. Matt Salmon and Kevin Yoder, those are Republicans. They get a pass. They gave the speech and were on the right side, and they weren't part of this thing which happened the next day. But what it does show you is, overall, it's crystal clear. The Republican Party is not in favor of increasing funding to the NIH, even when it comes to fighting cancer. In the United States of America in 2015, we can't even get bipartisan agreement that cancer is bad and we should fund the fight against it. And I'll give you more specifics. They say, quote, "The amendment died along party lines, all the Democrats for, all the Republicans against in this particular committee. 22 Republicans were in opposition." They can't even get their shit together to try and beat cancer. So here's why this story is so important. The next time you hear the media or you hear people in the establishment bubble in Washington talk about how, well, you know, this is the way politics works, and there's crazies in both parties, and the smart people need to be in the center or need to try to build bridges and work through it that way, gosh golly. Understand that that's backed up by no evidence. That's something, it's lazy reporting is what it is. To just declare, crazies on both sides, smart people in the middle. Why can't we all just get along? That doesn't mean anything. Because what does that disregard? All of what's actually happening. All of the facts about how Washington is functioning. And the reality is, the Democrats have many problems. But the crazy is not equal in both parties. The crazy is overwhelmingly on the side of the Republican Party, and it's the media's job to report that, to get all the information and all the data out there so that people can make informed voting decisions. And they won't do that, and it's a tragedy.